Today's conversation is about artificial intelligence in music. From composition to performance, AI is not just a tool, but a collaborator, an innovator, and sometimes a controversial figure in this creative process. In recent times, we've witnessed AI's profound impact on music. Country legend Randy Travis, for example, who lost his ability to sing after a stroke in 2013, has released new songs using AI to recreate his voice. By blending his previous recordings with current vocals from James Dupree, Travis has been able to share new music with his fans. On the flip side, the rise of AI-generated music has sparked debates about authenticity and ethics. A notable example is the viral AI-generated song Heart on My Sleeve, which mimicked the voices of Drake and The Weeknd. This track gathered millions of streams before being removed due to copyright concerns, highlighting the challenges and legal questions surrounding AI in music. Moreover, artists like Grimes are embracing AI's potential. She has encouraged fans to use AI to simulate her voice for creating music, even offering to share royalties with them. This move opens up discussions about collaboration, creativity, and the evolving relationship between artists and technology. However, not all reactions have been positive. Scarlett Johansson recently warned about the dangers of AI after a deepfake video went online and went viral, emphasizing concerns over digital impersonation and the ethical implications of such technologies. Today, we'll explore these developments and more, speaking with industry experts who are at the forefront of this AI-driven revolution. We'll discuss the innovations, the controversies, and what the future holds for music in the age of artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Joey Chou, and this is Beyond the Reefs. Hi, you're listening to Beyond the Reefs, a show produced by Radio Taiwan International. Here we talk about the socio-economic issues that are faced by Taiwan and their broader impact around the world beyond the reefs of this island nation. Today's guests are the host of BBC's show Arts Hour. Her name is Nikki Bedi. Not only is she a veteran TV and radio show host, she's also spent the better part of the last decade interviewing and visiting artists as well as musicians from around the world. And our second guest will be Joey Chou. She is the former Warner Music Taiwan's international marketing director. We'll be asking Nikki to join us in a bit, but first off, let's give Carol a chance to introduce herself.
So I'm Joey Chou. I've been very fortunate to work in the exciting world of marketing for several years, and I'm still very passionate about it. My journey actually started in Mindshare, specializing in digital marketing, and this was around 13 years ago, before I moved on to Warner Music Malaysia and then Warner Music Taiwan as a director of international marketing. This year, I have embarked on a new adventure of running my own company, offering a consultation services in the music industry. So I am actually involved in projects, in organizing concerts, but it would be a consultation basis. So it's next year there will be an upcoming concerts, so that which you can look into, and that's very aligned with what we want to see in the future concerts because it's very eco-friendly, and so it's a very futuristic, eco-friendly type of initiative that we want to move into.
So today, Carol, we really want to talk about AI in music. It seems like AI is everywhere, and it's proliferated into the music realm. There's an online artist who's called himself or herself Ghostwriter, who used the melodic and vocal likeliness of Drake and The Weeknd to produce an entirely new track. So I want to ask you, while you were still working with Warner Music Taiwan, Warner Music Malaysia, or what you're doing now, is AI starting to become a big part of your daily lives, or have you noticed from industry friends talking about it?
Yes, certainly. So integrating AI has really shaped the way we market music. And it offers innovative ways to identify trends as well as improve audience targeting. And it really just basically helps us to understand our consumer behavior more, right? So not only are we able to, through the use of AI, personalize marketing campaigns by really analyzing the user data and their usage patterns, but we are also able to gauge the sentiments of our artists' work and really recommend new songs to new users who are more likely to enjoy it on the streaming platforms. So, for example, if you go to Spotify, you see them recommending like songs you would like. So it's already been integrated there. And it is also very common for us to
Mm.
use chatbots for better fan engagement, which is good, right? Because it gives us additional insights to optimize our marketing strategies.
How do you use chatbots in your projects? Just like maybe for example.
So for example, like if you it so basically chatbots, if we integrate it in our social media, it actually helps us to reply to we there's a certain framework which we already come up with, and then they work within the framework and the system like a flow chart. So a chatbot would allow us to automatically reply to fans and provide them with the information they need. For example, it could be related to an artist's songs, where do they get the merchandise? You know, you can have automated links and directly direct them to a particular website platform and like a landing page.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it sounds like the jobs that used to require, I guess, customer service under your marketing team is now being replaced by chatbot, and also the information that you get through the conversations with chatbot, with music aficionados around the world, then you can throw that into big data and then analyze exactly what the market is asking for.
Yes, so it helps us in terms of efficiency, but also at the same time, it really touches on the negative impact that which may have for like, resulting from AI.
And what are those, do you think?
Well, okay, so definitely if we look at AI, there's a lot of like, on one hand, it definitely help us to be more efficient, but the concerns around AI is revolves around, now we have music being created that you cannot tell whether it's human made or AI made. So this could eventually, in the long run, put musicians out of work, because then brands and different companies where they want to create like sizzle reels or they want to use music, they will go to AI companies who can make the music rather than going to musician and pay them for the music. This also go into few concerns about copyright issues and also the potential misuse of AI generated music. But again, these concerns are all very new and it's advancing very fast because of the technology changes. So we are still in the process of really finding the balance.
It seems like, let's say, back in the 60s or 70s, a certain group of musician was lauded for their abilities to play multiple instruments. They're called session musicians, and they're employed everywhere, especially under a big record label. You know, if you have an artist who's a singer-songwriter but doesn't play any instruments, you need a band behind them to record an album, and sometimes you find these veteran session musicians to do it. Nowadays, it seems like these musicians are slowly running out of jobs because their skill sets, being able to play instruments and having learned different instruments their whole entire life, basically a computer can, or a keyboard can basically mimic every single sound you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the first step of some of these musicians losing their jobs. What you mentioned is also interesting, is that there used to be artists who compose sizzle reels or certain parts of the production chain for marketing purposes, still require musicians to come up with certain sounds and music. So these musicians are running out of jobs too. That's what you're saying.
Yes. So it could be a potential. So definitely need these kind of conversations that we are having. It's globally they're having it within the music industry and across other industry. So it's something that we have to be very mindful of, and just you can't discount the skill set that these musicians have and the work they bring, right, compared to what AI can bring.
Yeah, because we mentioned that, for example, chatbots is now able to do the job of several customer service agents who no longer have to personally talk to fans and find out what they like about a certain artist. I can see that replacing the jobs of certain marketing personnel. But for you, who's been a marketing executive or someone who is a manager for many years, has AI ever affected your job negatively, or has it always helped you?
So I believe from a marketing, I guess, position, AI actually assisted with the work that we have to do on a daily basis. In terms of like true, what you mentioned is correct because they would help us to automate replies, but there are still positions and a human needs to construct the flow chart of how do I reply to the customers. So the position for that, when one position closed, another opens. So it could be really just the position will move on to, we are looking to someone who can help us to write this flow chart, someone who can help us draw out the diagram and help us analyze the data for the consumer behaviors. Then we can analyze that and make it into a marketing strategy. So right now for marketing, because it involves a lot of creativity and a lot of flexibility and a lot of customization, this is something that AI has not yet, the keyword is on yet, right? Has not yet been able to replace human minds on that. But again, the scary part is, now with ChatGPT and bot and, their reply is getting more and more personalized and more usable in terms of replying and helping us with the work on various things. They can even come up with, content, and as well as not just content in words, but in creative as well. So this is something that if they evolve, we don't know when is what is the cap. But as of right now, we're seeing AI as a tool that helps us to do the work more efficiently and more productive.
That's good to hear. I think ChatGPT spits out these metrics very well, but when it comes to strategic tactics with marketing, I guess that's still so far you haven't seen that being replaced by anything like AI or ChatGPT, right? So that still requires a human brain, aka still requires someone like you, Carol, to come up with the strategy.
Yes. So what we do is we would consult to get ideas or maybe just to gather information in such a short time. Of course, we will leverage on the platforms to gather the information, but ultimately the customization and the strategy, the forming the ideas, and really because there is a limitation in terms of what AI can still do, localization, different languages, and really the sentiments and understanding there's still a need to really analyze the data and the user behaviors. So ChatGPT, Nobot, or any other of these AI platform right now can do that. So we still require a human person to do that for us.
Okay, so good to hear that Carol is not soon to run out of a job anytime soon.
Yes, thank God.
Now, since you've worked with Warner Music for quite a while, a couple of Warner Music musicians have spoken about AI. Ed Sheeran, for example, he's more concerned about the sci-fi version of AI, killing the humanity. Damon Albarn from Blur and also Gorillaz is actually interestingly very worried about AI. He says is a grotesque mockery of what it is to be human, which is kind of interesting because I've always thought that Damon, having created or co-created Gorillaz, he's very open-minded about the new wave of music and what if we blend music with technology. So coming from you, do you feel similar sentiments, or are there any final thoughts coming from you about AI and music?
So I have not personally heard any similar sentiments from artists that I've worked with, besides the ones you mentioned. But obviously, I can understand why some artists have concerns about the negative impact AI can have in the music industry. Ultimately, I think it is important to work with these artists to address their concerns, because to ensure that AI is used in a way that is beneficial to both the music industry and the artist. So I guess my final thoughts around AI for the time being is that I see it as a potential to revolutionize the music industry. I believe it can help us to, well, sorry, not believe, it certainly can help us to reach new audience and create engaging content, also to automate tasks, right? However, it is very important to use AI responsibly and to be aware of the negative impact that it can have. Ultimately, it goes back. I think of AI as a tool, and it is up to us humans to decide how we want to use it.
And that concludes our conversation with Carol, who looks at today's topic from the industry as a business. And now we're going to look at it from the eyes or the lens of an artist or someone who appreciates art. Her name is Nikki Bedi. Once again, she is the BBC's host for Arts Hour. And let's first ask her about her experience working with artists and what has she heard about their opinions on AI. So, Nikki, you've had the chance to interview so many very talented individuals around the world over the course of your time with the BBC. And just recently, you got to speak with Christopher Nolan. You did a piece on Blackpink's Jennie and her conversation with Dua Lipa recently. I'm curious to find out what you think of a certain headline that became quite big here in Taiwan about the possibility of AI taking our jobs. It shows that the survey shows that more than 50% of Taiwanese people, especially office workers, believe that their jobs will eventually be replaced by AI. Now, the thing is, we always thought that for automated jobs, maybe someone who puts together a car or is in a factory on a production line, maybe yes for those jobs. We never thought that with the advent of AI technologies such as Midjourney or ChatGPT, that it's actually the creative industries that was the first to possibly have AI either assist in our creation or maybe replace our ability to create. So for someone who's done so much research about people who are in the arts industry, do you know what they think about this, or do you have any idea how your take is on AI taking our jobs in the creative industry?
Well, I mean, the creative industry is such a wide umbrella under which so many different factions exist. And as you know, the Hollywood writers' strike was joined by actors because they do not want any AI replacing them or adding and warping anything that they put out there on celluloid or in digital forms. They are taking a stand on that. I don't see yet that radio GPT is a thing. I mean, it could research for us, couldn't it? It could maybe write little introductions, but your wit, your humor, your ability to come back at me with something really zinging and funny and insightful, that is not there yet. And also, I don't know whether you find this, obviously I'm doing this from the UK, you're in Taiwan. If I were in your radio studio, there is something magical that happens. It's like the atoms change in a room when you are opposite a person, and you read body language, you read a twitch in my eye, and something has affected me or changed the way I'm perceiving something. That can't happen that quickly.
Right.
And humor, the humor bit is just not there yet.
That's true.
But who knows? I mean, a roboticized voice, I am not, I don't like that. I don't like being put through to some sort of, when you're put on hold and you have a voice that gives you 4 different versions of things and it's not a real voice. I don't like roboticized voices. So on the radio, if you're live, you want a voice with textures and not algorithms and automation, but it's coming. And I don't know how old you are. You sound really young and cool and hip to me.
I'm 38.
You're a baby. I do not mean that in any sort of patronizing way. It may happen in your lifetime, but I'm an old broad, so it might not happen in mine.
I think it will. I think it will happen. I think it will happen more quickly than you can imagine. And what amazes me about what you do is, and you're probably not going to like the statistics, but you've been with the BBC for 20 years, haven't you?
I have, actually. On and off, I have.
Right?
Yes.
And somehow you still have so much passion. And I think that's what really matters. Age is really just a number. It's how you put so much passion into what you do. And also, you do utilize, Google alert systems. So you are not.
But it is, everything in life to me is about staying curious. If you're not curious, then you lose everything, don't you?
Exactly. And I think that's something that AI can't quite replace just yet.
Not yet.
The curiosity. Yeah. And that concludes our conversation this week about AI in music. Make sure you join us next again for Radio Taiwan International's Beyond the Reefs. I'm Joey Chou. See you next time.